Okay, hi everybody. This is the Math 31 integration review. This is question 6b. I've got to find the area between these two curves, between pi over 2 and 0. Kind of going backwards there, but that's okay. So we'll give a brief sketch of this first. Okay, so if we're going from 0 to pi over 2, now first of all, notice that root 3 sine x, that's all it's going to do is cause a vertical translation. So it's going to be just a little taller here. So, and sine hits its maximum at pi over 2, so it's going to look like that. Okay, cosine starts at a maximum. Now it's going to be a little bit lower than that, okay, because that's going to be root 3. This is going to be 1 here. And then cosine drops down like that. Okay, so now we want to find the area between those two curves. Now what that means is we are looking for that area right there, which means we've got two different regions that we got to integrate between here. Now the first thing that we're going to do is set these two functions equal to each other so that we can determine that value of x where those things intersect. So I'm going to divide by cosine, divide by root 3. So I'm going to get 1 over root 3. And when I divide by cosine, divide sine by cosine, I'm going to get tangent here. So tangent of x is equal to 1 over root 3. And we know that that occurs at pi over 6. Okay? So now, to figure out what's going on here, what we're going to do here is we're going to integrate, okay, from 0 to pi over 6, and then we're going to integrate from pi over 6 to pi over 2. Now at this point, it really doesn't matter which one we put on top here because we got two different versions here. We're going to split this up here. So what I'm going to do here is I will integrate. So my area here is going to be the integral. I'm going to go from 0 to pi over 6. Now I'm just going to be clever about this. This is cosine. This is the root 3 sine. So I will do cosine of x minus root 3 sine of x dx. Now I already know that that's going to be a positive result because I chose cosine to be on top. And then I will add to this the integral from pi over 6 to pi over 2. And in this case, I will write root 3 sine x minus the cosine of x dx. Now I'm running off the edge of the paper there, getting right close to the end, but you can see that. And again, I switch the order there just so that my result will be positive. Okay, now we can simply do this. The integral of cosine is going to be the sine of x. The integral of negative root 3 sine of x is going to be positive root 3 cosine of x, and we will evaluate that between 0 and pi over 6. And we will add to that the integral of root 3 sine of x is going to be negative root 3 cosine of x. And the integral of negative cosine of x will be the negative sine of x evaluated between pi over 6 and pi over 2. Okay, so a lot going on there. That's okay. We're good. So now we just start plugging stuff in. So if now I'm going to do this in brackets here. If I plug pi over 6 into this, sine of pi over 6, remember pi over 6 is our 30 degrees. So it's going to be 1/2. Okay, and then plus, if I plug pi over 6 into cosine, pi over 6 into cosine, that becomes root 3 over 2 times root 3 is going to end up being just 3 over 2. So this is going to end up being 1/2 plus 3 over 2, okay, so it's 4 over 2, so it's just going to be 2, minus, okay, because I'm going to find the difference. Now if I plug 0 into this, the sine of 0 is 0, the cosine of 0 is 1. So all that's going to survive out of that when I plug 0 in is root 3. So when I plug in the pi over 6, I get 2. When I plug in the 0, I get root 3. The difference between them, that's the area right in there. We're going to add to that. Okay, now I'm going to plug in the pi over 2. Now pi over 2 into cosine is going to be 0. And I'm going to get minus, now the sine of pi over 2 is going to be 1. So this will be minus 1. Minus, okay, actually I'll drop the brackets. I'll put that in a second here. Let me evaluate this first here. So we already know that if we plug in pi over 6 into this, we're going to get 2. Now if they're both positive, it'd be positive 2 here. So in this case here, we're going to subtract, and this is going to end up being negative 2. So we're getting 2 minus root 3. Now if I do this together, -1 minus -2 is going to be plus 2, so plus 1. So our answer is going to be 3 minus root 3 when I put that all together. That's the area between those two curves.